Good morning, my friends. How did everyone survive the weekend? You strangers, what is going on? Sailor said it's afternoon there. Hey, Dolores. Tracy was the first one in. Heather Mack said good morning from Ohio. What is your weather like? The reason I'm going early, and I did make an announcement about it, just obviously not in the right places, but that's okay. If people have their reminders set, they will know, is because we are having an ice storm here. It started last night and it's continuing now. I don't like old man winter at all. I don't like socks. I don't like scarves. I don't like hoodies. I don't like sweaters. I like sundresses, flip-flops, and that's pretty much it. I like to keep old girl down there aired out, if you know what I mean. I don't like to wear a lot of clothes. Do not like it. So anyway, that's what we're dealing with. So this morning on our local news, they said that the ice is still coming down and to expect power outages. So I said, well, I better get this together ASAP because yesterday I did not prepare for the show. I was watching football. And yes, Zach Walker, thank you. Go Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Let me tell you, that was a nail biter. I still cannot believe that the Lions beat the Buccaneers. I'm happy for the Lions because they're way overdue for an ass whooping on the other side, for them to give an ass whooping. Thank you, Kat. Kat is the only Kansas City Chiefs fan in the UK. The only one. I did see this meme regarding the Lions, and not going to lie, I cannot wait to send this to our friend, Ryan, who's a moderator here. Goff and the Lions pulling up to the NFC Championship game. If you know, you know. I laughed way too hard at this meme. But you all know that the weirdest things crack me up. Look at that shit. Rolling up. Rolling with my homies to the NFC. Straight from 8 Mile. How's it gonna be? Oh, I died laughing when I saw this. Of course, they're not going to pull up with Eminem and the crew from 8 Mile, but it still was absolutely hilarious. All right, let's get to it. Again, I apologize that we started early with not the right reminder, I guess. But we do have a lot of things to go through. I think we've all heard that Allie has passed away. I think we gave Andrew a proper dragon last week, but a lot of people still want to talk about the Andrew, Hunter, and Allie situation. I'm going to let the family rest and make their arrangements. I understand things have been really, really difficult for them. And I can only imagine. Allie is a young woman. She has at least one grandchild that we know of on the way. And she lost her life very, very early. Good morning, Wanda. Our girl Tiff's in the house. JTB. Quinny made it in. Katie Bird's here. Katie, I don't know how you lost your wrench. If anybody doesn't see their wrench and knows they had one before, let me know. Because if I take a wrench, it is known before. It's not a surprise. If you guys remember during the Gannon Stout trial, I don't know what the hell was going on. But basically everybody lost a wrench. And the next day, I'm like, we have no moderators. And that's when people were really fighting. It was getting crazy. I had a couple of messages. Why did I lose my wrench? Why did I lose my wrench? And I'm like, hell, I don't keep up with stuff like that. Rexy's rubbing it in. She said, it's back to the 60s here, thank goodness. Yes, it's going to be in the 50s later here this week, but we're going to have to defrost this afternoon before DT Driver can go back to work, and I'm in a better mood. Beautiful Tiffany. She said, my condolences to Allie's family. Rest in heaven, Allie. Teddy Burr, sorry. Missed you old stranger. Let's give a second and tell everyone happy Monday. Welcome your neighbor. Eek, Rhonda. She said, it's 48 here and flooding. Where are you? I don't want your address, but my goodness, what the hell is going on? We did have an ice storm last year. No snow that I remember. But I've showed pictures of our snow 2 times. And now this ice is moving in. It's nothing like the ice storm of 2007. It was on a Sunday night, I believe. I was asleep. Go figure, probably at 7 o'clock at night. And I could hear tree limbs cracking. I don't mean breaking. I mean cracking. The next morning, I thought, well, if I had some ice skates, I would go out there. 3 inches of ice came down. Now, just imagine how nasty that was. But again, I was happy about the way football turned out yesterday. I think Baker Mayfield will be okay. He's in warm, sunny, southern Florida. He'll be all right. Next year's a new year. We did have a lot of questions after the last show about Andrew. So instead of just going through comments, because it's only things Andrew can answer, we're going to do a special segment here today. It's called Ask Andrew. Bear with me. Ask Andrew. This is from our friend Tracy. This is from the Facebook group. She said, why do you have everything panda? Isn't that a sexual predator symbol? Again, these are things only Andrew can answer. I cannot answer them for him. Tanya said, what was in that U-Haul when you made the trip to Tennessee? Have you ever been around or associated with any type of trafficking, human or other things? You want people to believe you're a caring person. So why turn on your son when everyone called both of you out for scamming? How can you be so okay with the videos your brother Iricon, or whatever his name is, puts out? That was pretty sadistic stuff. Why did you not want people talking about a certain case that has gotten attention recently? Again, these are things that only Ask Andrew can answer. Our friend Aggie said, Andrew, when are you going to stop grifting off people? Okay, good one, Aggie. Our friend Tina said, are you or your relative going to publicly apologize for the disgusting and disrespectful comments made about Summer? Good question. Good question. Christina said, if you really wanted that bus to get to Hunter, why didn't you accept my offer to come get your ass and bring you to Saratoga Springs and get on the bus for no charge? I offered to pay your way. Very good question. Kathy said, is Chango really your brother? Is Chango Ericon with a brand new account, pretending to be someone else, with these psychic readings about summer that is actually your brother? Again, I do not have the answers to any of these things. Only Andrew can answer. That's why this segment is called Ask Andrew. And thank you, Pat, for not only keeping Summer's name out there, but other missing children and other victims. Love you, Pat. So let's see who this person is. I do not have the answer. All I know is what the internet tells me. And as you know, I believe everything I see on the internet. So this has been going around. So now Chango Superstar is H's uncle. Now this is not on Allie's side. This is on Andrew's side. We saw some very, very, very nasty things that this Ericon put out in regards to Summer Wells. So let's see with this new account, may or may not be his brother, what this person has to say.
I absolutely was not going to make another video. But I'm one of those people, I'm not a psychic, but I know how to read the universe and I can feel things. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I dropped a couple of weird and probably crazy videos a couple of days ago. And it looks to me as the house of cards is starting to fall.
Oh, the house of cards has been crumbling for quite a long time. I don't know. Chango, if you are Andrew's brother, why would you put your card in the deck? It's never made sense to me that Andrew came out of the shadows, unless it is for money, because he's not advocating for Summer and he's not advocating for Hunter. It seems to me, and hey, I believe in American capitalism, don't get me wrong, that his channel is all about him. But we can only ask Andrew about that. Don't worry, he'll see the questions.
Probably got nothing to do with what I put on the internet, but man, it just sure seems really freaky. Sometimes I think I don't live in reality. I probably live somewhere between the third and fourth dimension. But honestly, guys, that really happened about the little girl who I thought was Summer Wells. Staying here on this property. And now I got people posted up on the other side of the creek watching me from time to time. I think that's kind of odd. Another thing is I know who these people are or who they say they were. And may not have anything to do with anything. But I can look at their friends list and they're friends with a R. Vaughn. And people are saying that little boy that's missing, Summer Wells, might have something to do with it.
What is this person trying to put together? R. Vaughn would be a relative of Michael Vaughn. Do you see how sick this is? Michael Vaughn went missing July 27th of 2021. As we know, if you have been following Michael Vaughn's case, it is a true stranger abduction. When people found out about Michael Vaughn, it took a while for the cycle to go through. I think I was probably the last to know. Kat told me about Michael Vaughn. And of course, we all dug right in. So here we are, almost 2.5 years after Michael Vaughn's abduction. And Chango, who people are saying is actually Ericon, I don't know. I don't know. Only they know. Is saying that our Vaughn is friends with these people, but he doesn't say who the people are, unless I missed it. Listen again.
Another thing is I know who these people are or who they say they were, and may not have anything to do with anything, but I can look at their friends list and they're friends with a R. Vaughn, and people are saying that that little boy that's missing somewhere else might have something to do with it. Y'all, if you could take nothing away from this, take this. Look into the church that she was attending. Look how in those videos she's in that church and she's nowhere near her parents. She's with people and she's happy around those people. So it seems. And the way I understand it, CPS was coming to their house the day after she went missing. I ain't no rocket scientist, but there's something up with that. And I can read faces, folks. Her parents have got some problems. Again, I wasn't going to make a video. Man, I'm not here.
Okay, he's right about that. I think the parents do have some problems. That's the reason they're not cooperating with the authorities to bring their daughter back. Matter of fact, Candace put this in another chat. Okay, so everyone says Satan, Saiten, did this. Then why have God not brought back Summer Moon, Utah Wells, and the boys? Well, I have a feeling that the boys are not going to come back until you are cleared or not a primary focus of their investigation. Even the worst CPS is not going to put your sons in harm's way if you, Dawn, or Grandis have something to do with Summer's disappearance. And I don't mean not paying attention when she went to play in the woods, if that's what happened. And we have a new way to spell Satan. A couple of years ago, Dawn spelled it Satin. Now it's Saiten. I don't know how to pronounce that. Satian? Okay, so everyone says Satian did this. Then why have God not brought back Summer Moon, Utah Wells, and the boys? Well, take it for what it is, Candace. It looks like God's been answering your prayers for your Cash App. Okay, this is probably going to be the comment of the day, because every time God gives you a child, you abuse the child.
You know, I don't even know why I'm here. I know I got a lot of damn time on my hands. That's what happens when you get old. You get a lot of time on your hands. And I can tell you this also, I would not want to be a teenager and live in a society where everything is based on social media. I would kill myself. Man, I'm so glad that I came up with 3 channels and rabbit ears, playing in the creek, riding a bicycle without a helmet, jumping over Volkswagens. Times are good, guys. I do have a lot of time on my hands. But what I said happened, happened. I ain't got no receipts other than a Wells 216 and the Wells' personal attorney, or not attorney, but private investigator contacted me and said it's got nothing to do with them. So, hey, you can take it as you want. I know how I feel about this situation. I'm rather creeped out about it. That's why I keep talking about it, I do think.
Is he saying that he was watching channels with the rabbit ears and I guess the channels that don't work were talking to him, like that white noise type of shit? I don't know. Jody Sue has a question. I'm going to go ahead and open up the panel. Jody Sue, if you want to grab the link, come on up. Come on up. You're the next contestant. This trying to make a connection between Michael Vaughn and Summer Wells makes no sense. Let me explain why. Here is in regards to Summer Wells. The FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment CARD team came to Beach Creek. It's a team dedicated to investigative, technical, and analytical and resource assistance on site during non-family child abductions, ransom child abductions, and mysterious disappearance of children. We brought the FBI CARD team in, and everything they could find, there was no indication whatsoever of a child abduction. Now, again, we have plenty of shows about Michael Vaughn where the authorities, the investigators, the people that have the evidence have said he was truly abducted. Truly abducted. Matter of fact, when J.D. Huff, this was in July of 2022, was asked specifically about Summer Wells, J.D. Huff is the chief of police in Fruitland, Idaho, over Michael Vaughn's case. This is what he said.
You know, we haven't. Although I know there are some similarities, such as the Summer Wells case, but we just haven't been able to tie that to that case. So.
Let's listen to that again. We already know that the FBI CARD team said no stranger abduction with Summer. When asked, J.D. Huff said there are some similarities, but we cannot tie them together.
You know, we haven't. Although I know there are some similarities, such as the Summer Wells case, but we just haven't been able to tie that to that case. So.
Slim, thank you. Slim said, can't tie them together, straight from the horse's mouth. So I don't understand where this is coming from. People are saying David Dotson was at one time having an affair with one of the grandmothers of Michael Vaughn. Not true. Not true. There is no, I have a feeling that the FBI knows a little bit more than I do. Absolutely crazy. Out of Huff's mouth. Speaking of Huff's mouth, where is Snow? She is absolutely in love with J.D. Huff. Okay, a lot of people reached out and they said one of the saddest things about Allie's early passing is not only her leaving friends and family behind, but it's yet another person in the Summer Wells case that can no longer give information about Summer Wells. This is part 2 of JLR. Hang on. Jody Sue said, oddest thing I've ever seen. Let me get another device and try. Let me try another link. Unless you want to put your email in, I can try to email it to you, Jody. Try it now. Because Allie, Grandbun, Sherry, True, Hunter not so much, have had some very damning things to say about the Wells and their circus. Speaking of, I saw an amazing comment in one of the Facebook groups, actually I think the only Facebook group I'm in for summer, where a woman said, this circus you're referring to, all of the children involved saw on a daily basis. All right, hang on. Jody Sue is backstage. She says she has some questions, so let's bring her out.
Bro.
Good morning, Jody. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. It's just been a long night, but, it's I don't know. I just kind of had, I just, these people and the craziness, and their garbage that they put out, just, like this guy here. It's so many years of it,
Oh, yeah, and you are kind of in the eye of the hurricane.
And I hate that they do that on Summer's name and everything. There's just these random crazies or random people that do that, and it distracts. And in a way, it keeps Summer's name out there, but it really does just have people chasing all these things, And I don't know why they do it. I don't know why these crazies put out videos of I found Summer, or and it hurts real people. Even though we can discern that it's BS and we know instantly it's another nutter, you rush immediately to something like that and you're like, oh, was it, and then, you know what I mean? It's soul crushing every time, even though you can pretty well identify him immediately. It's still, and I wonder sometimes if people think about that and what her brothers think about, because no matter how much they're trying to protect them from online stuff, they're still probably seeing things like that. It's just like we try to protect our own, and they're on unknown devices and everything else, and they still see all of these horrible things or come into contact with them, And I worry about Summer's brothers seeing these nutters around the world and all of these things, and how it must be false hope for them, thinking somebody's seen their sister.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand. I think in some way people really, they see a picture of a child who is missing and they're frustrated by how slow the wheels of justice turn. There's Summer Wells right there. Candace said, you're invited to attend a birthday honoring Summer Moon Utah Wells, Friday, February 2nd, 6:30 p.m. at Cedar Grove Baptist Church. I mean, it seems like a nice thing, but when she was asked about it, she said she didn't plan it. They're like, why that church? And she said, oh, I didn't plan it.
Well,
So,
Vaughn didn't want one the year before, remember? He didn't want a celebration. And Robin did one, or somebody was setting up one at the other church. And see, Summer's birthday and Little's birthday are the 4th and the 5th, right? And, I don't understand. That's their feelings or her parents, but it's always kind of somebody else being the ones that are setting up events or tents or paying for all the things that they do show up at anyway.
well, and it says right here, why a new church instead of the original congregation your family was a part of? I find that quite interesting that they aren't seeing this through, for Summer. And here comes Can't with decent English. She says, I understand, but I didn't pick the place. So again, it's Candace doing something that has nothing to do with her planning. I mean, like this. She showed up in a hoodie, greased back hair, and pajama pants to stand in front of the tree again in Kingsport as they're taking it down.
Yeah, well, it's like the purple tent that Toaster and Nan and all them did across from the campground in Bayleton days and all that. I mean, it's everybody else that, and then they show up, and it's like the freaking shirt with Eric Estrada, man. That was a perfect moment to have Summer's face on that shirt and to get her across the world if it was going to be used as a photo op. Instead, it was a look, I'm standing with Eric Estrada, and here's a shirt that doesn't show my missing daughter at all.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you.
But there's Kane and Dawn, and everybody does things in different ways. Yes.
Well, and we all know that this isn't the outfit she would wear to play coin pusher. I mean, she's got a specific uniform for that. I mean, she's got to wear worn out Crocs, flip flops, athletic socks, Don's basketball shorts, not like he plays basketball, no bra, and a t-shirt. Do you ever play coin pusher?
I don't even, I've heard people talking about something with coin pusher in connection with Candace. I'm not sure what anybody's talking about because I try to honestly stay separate from quite a bit of things.
Well, she's been caught at a local convenience store many times playing.
Oh, one of those machines like an arcade.
It's this.
Pusher, a $2 start. Hold that skill stop button. We're gonna do $1 on this side and $1 on this side. Let's see if we make back more than $2. Oh, come on, good push. Oh, that was, wait, second wave. All right, let's see what we got back. $1.25. Okay.
Did she play coin pusher before Summer went missing, or only when she started getting money from other channels?
I don't know. I know everybody thinks that we were all super tight or something, but it wasn't ever really like that. But
well, since I've got you up here, what do you think about this she said about you? And I know you have thick skin. Okay, so just listen carefully.
About me, and I find
it. Her story twice, so just listen.
I don't know about Jackie Dobbs. I've just heard about him. I don't know about Jody Sue. I've talked to Jody Sue time and time again, and every time she talks to me, her story has changed.
Like in how?
Okay, like, for instance, like, she said that she was down on the bottom after she heard somebody scream or whatever. She was never at the bottom of that driveway. I drove down there faster than she could fucking fly.
Okay. So she said, so the scream, of course, is out of the question now, right? There was no scream, right?
There's no scream, dude. She's maced all that shit up. Lie. I can't lie. It's not in my metabolism.
Okay.
Now, if she was standing down there, was that after Summer came up missing?
I don't know when she got down there. I just know when I drove down to my mom's truck, she was down there.
Okay.
Was she already looking, or was she doing something different?
She was just standing in the corner.
I've seen most of these. This particular one is one of mine and Smith's favorite.
Right.
Was it surprising you coming down the drive knowing your daughter?
Yeah, because usually Jody Sue don't walk around. Why? I can't lie.
Okay, so what corner were you standing on, Jody Sue, when you heard the scream, according to Candace?
I wasn't standing on a corner, nor was I down there when I heard the scream. I and the kids heard the scream in the cabin. And it was hours before they started looking for Summer. My story's never changed. But what you do notice is that she changes, and that they've tried to pull back at first because they were unaware, because I nor law enforcement had told them the exact time of the scream. Mm-hmm. They used it when it fit, and they wound around it. And they tried to weave all of it to fit their story. And then because I stayed separate of them, I was unaware in a way of like that interview Dawn did with the dog trail and the Knoxville news lady, you know. But I was on vid chat with Candace the day that interview was done. I have screenshots and stuff, and I can show that.
What interview? The interview with Prayer Garden, or with
No, the
or with
one with the
Jill?
news out, WLTV or WTVL from Knoxville or wherever.
Well, that was Dawn, because Dawn
Yeah,
before said the scream was bullshit, and then as he was talking to the reporter, he said Summer was probably gasping for air going down the dog trail, and a neighbor
yep,
heard a scream.
yep. But see, I didn't know because I never talked to them really about, well, what do you think happened to Sarah? I mean, they just kept saying, well, she's been taken, but they didn't even really say that. They kept aiming at Fred and Dudley. That was, and then when Prayer Garden and all them brought in, or not Prayer, but Squall brought in Frank Light as some sort of weird false suspect, you know. But it was mainly those three they were targeting and hitting at. But we didn't really speak, and I never told them the time of the scream, right? But unbeknownst to us, Candace got recorded within, what, 24 hours over here by somebody? And they knew about it in the background for weeks, but she got recorded being like, oh, I must have missed a scream because I was down in the basement with the boys looking for Summer and the TV was on. You know, but she didn't know what time at first, and they tried to use the scream the entire way, right? For every story they told. And that includes Dawn's dog trail bullshit from the
Mhm.
basement. Doesn't make sense, but I didn't know that's where they had firmly stuck with a story until like last fall. And I was like, what the? Huh? I was like, really? So he took and wove the scream because, see, I and the kids all heard it kind of differently.
Right.
And, you know, oldest, they're always like, well, oh, he described it as an animalistic scream. That's not what he said. He didn't say it was like animal-like. What he said was it was animalistic, but not. Little could hear it far longer than her brother and I, and she kept saying she could hear it and it was moving away, right? So Dawn took what Little had said and tried to fashion it as the first thing, like it was muffled first. Go pay attention to the interview. He says, oh, the basement, and you know, she was muffled, and then this brat screamed like she got loose, and somebody's fumbling with their keys and all that. It's like, wait, what? You know, and so when it benefited them, they tried to use the screen many times, many ways. And then as like that interview with Prayer Garden and Benny there, what Candace did, and it happened to be that one of the hoax calls from Candace, Dawn, and Sharon stuff brought the feds out here, and they were here anyway, and everybody was kind of rolling their eyes. But while they were here, that was Aaron, and I was like, holy F, you know? I was like, she just moved her timeline back, guys. And the feds were like, say the hell what? And I showed them and they took the links and they were like, we're out. See you later. She moved the timeline back in that piece to try to fit the time of the scream once she found out. That is not me changing my story. That is Candace and Dawn trying to use and weave around what they know other witnesses and stuff. Once they find out what times and dates or this, that, and the other, they try to weave around them and build them in.
Yeah, well, I mean, the case isn't about you. The case is about Summer Wells and who possibly got her
Yeah,
gun, if you know what I mean. Did the child scream sound like a little girl or a little boy?
it wasn't the boys.
Okay, can you say that again?
It was not the boys.
What did you think when Ronnie Lawson said that scream it's unfounded?
He says that it's unfounded, and unfounded, the definition is cannot prove nor disprove. And we've asked for an explanation many times, even from the feds and stuff. Nobody knows. We keep being asked about the scream. we're told by others around this that it does matter. How it matters, I'm not sure. And myself, this place puts more emphasis on it than we do. I think other things we've seen and witnessed that day probably matter more. And I would love, honestly, for them to be like, yeah, this is the explanation for that. Somehow you and the kids are wrong, this, that, and the other, because honestly, it wouldn't haunt me the way it does and make me wonder, and it would be one less piece that nobody can give us an explanation for.
Well,
You
I
know?
mean, did you hear a lot of screams coming from that property? And I'm not trying to put any guilt on you. You said it haunts you. I mean, if I heard a scream in a rural area that made me pay attention, I would call 911 thinking something was wrong, or I would call where I thought the scream came from. You know your neighbors. Did you ever think to call the authorities and say, I think there might be something going on, let's say at 110 Ben Hill Road?
Well, the thing is it's like when you don't have any idea what the actual thing is, like, you know what I mean? And there are screams out in the woods all the fucking time. There are screams everywhere. Hell, there were screams from me and everybody, you know what I mean? So, and a scream from over there wouldn't be unusual either. Um, and I mean, the boys often would, like, scream as they were angry at each other or if they were having fits or doing whatever too. So, and I tried. It was so weird and strange though. I mean, it stopped us all cold, right? Just dead in our tracks.
Mm-hmm.
But my brain went, you know, what is that? And the kids were like, it's the kids. And I was like, no, it ain't the boys, because that was my thought, right? Just when I hear the word kids in conjunction, it was always really the boys, because, that it just, and my brain went, well, had to be something else, had to be something else, had to be something else. And you don't immediately go, oh my God, it's a something connected to something that's connected to something else. Sometimes you don't know what a thing is until other things happen.
Well, that's true. Hindsight 2020 is a bitch. You hear something and then you hear something happened and then you're like, well, I did hear something, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. I totally understand what you're talking about. I totally understand.
Oh.
Know what this message is. But back to your question, why there's so many crazies, not just in the Summer Wells case, but every case. It's someone's mind trying to cope with something they can't explain. And so whether they go on YouTube or Facebook or say, what about, have you thought about this? Or they call it into the tip line, in their way, they think they're helping. To get to the bottom of it. Because you have to admit, I mean, it's been over 2.5 years, and law enforcement is not giving any updates to Hawkins County. And if I was in Hawkins County, I would be coming unglued. I would be saying, now hold on. What could be more important in our county right now than the disappearance of one of our own, a little girl? You really have zero update for this community? Because if she wandered off, she would have been found. We have covered many cases on this channel, similar terrain, two in the exact same terrain, where they found children.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, there's a reason they're not giving updates. And, there are, as you can see, many thousands of people absolutely unconnected to Summer or the case in any way who are online every day. And, well, they're not detectives or anything else, and they don't know the community or the people or the nuances or life in there or anything else. But they all talk about it every day, I guess, to try to be helpful. But I mean, the thing is that those are kind of the reason they're not giving updates. Plus, when you have a bunch of folks that, like you just seen, that weave every
Mhm.
time new information's given, well, that's not real helpful.
Oh,
I
that's the
mean,
worst thing law enforcement can do is tell them what they're working on. I mean, I think that would just be so stupid. I mean, why
yeah,
on earth would you show your hand to people that are trying to get away from their dirty deeds, whoever it might be? That is dumb.
and it's like people scream at me all the time, right? You're talking in code, you're doing this, you're not giving us everything, Jody Sue, that you know, or blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, try to be smart. Not everybody's entitled to everything, and there's some things that I know do not need to be out and don't need to be said in public, and and that's in order to hopefully protect the case in Summer. And I say what I feel I can at certain times. It's like some in chat are like, well, at first you were like, I don't think the parents did as well. When you start putting pieces together and you think, well, okay, maybe what I was seeing live and in real time on June 15th is not what I initially thought it was. And then hear all these things, and you start putting all the things together throughout all the years, or you do this and the other, or it's like, for me, there's a lot of people that could be guilty or sus, and I don't put everybody's names out there. I don't come here slinging everything at everyone either. And there are many reasons I came online, and remain so. And Bob G, I'm not on anything. I have cancer and a speech disability.
Let's be kind to who's on panel, please. If you have a question, please make a question and I'll ask her. We have one right now. Who is Bill Shipley? Now, is this the same Bill that we heard about
I'm
7
not.
years
I'm
ago?
not. Look, there's some extreme things going on around that, and there's extreme danger. And it's because of Ziggy and what she's doing. She's going to cost people their lives, and that's where I'm at with it. Some very, very serious things have happened in the past 24 hours, and I will not talk about Bill.
Okay, is he the same blue roof Bill that Candace spoke about?
Though that's not even a Bill. Blue Roof has nothing to do with Bill. That's not even a Bill.
I just asked if it's the same person.
No, it's not even like one's a Bill and one's got an entirely different absolute name, not even closely resembling a Bill.
Oh, okay. All right. Trev said that's Blue Roof Dawn. I'm sorry, because I did hear Blue Roof Bill one time.
Who, by the way, that family wants to be left alone. They've asked many times. They've asked for names not to be mentioned, but yet people keep doing it. I am not worked up, Slim, in the least.
Don't worry about the chat. If there's something that needs to be addressed, I'll address it. Just like on your channel, you have to, look at the chat and decide, how you as a host are going to do the show. We have a question from Cray Cray. How are the Wells as neighbors?
I mean, I didn't like them. Most did not. But when your neighbors are neighbors, man.
Yeah, you can't pick your family and you can't pick your neighbors. All you can do is move.
Yeah, I tried to do that. I didn't want to be on this property. Everybody proclaims that I was all after whatnot that was worthless anyway, but didn't want to be there. Monster wanted to be there. I wanted to be at another property, not that one, and hated it there. Yeah, so there's that.
Now, let me ask you this. Dawn said that the dogs were gone that day. Did you hear any dogs that day? Because every
I
interview,
beginning, and Dawn took that from me and Roger. Tell me, how would Dawn know whether the dogs were there unless he was there?
okay, well, let's look at this. He has given up many clues. He has
When it
given
comes to
many
Joy.
clues that he was home that day. I was going to go through some things that Allie said, but listen to this. This is from LTL, guys. Sub up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't take anything Dawn says online seriously, considering I knew live and in Ben Hill that their intent was to screw with you all and play games with you.
Oh, he's not playing games with me. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I mean, I'm
Even get
saying
him
you
on the
people,
show. I've talked to him on the phone several times. He starts out wanting to be friendly, wanting to be funny. He's talked in our Discord before. He's not a member of Discord. But people have heard him on like a general voice chat, and he's talked to people. But then when he is asked certain questions, he erupts.
Either way, the dog's there, so there's that.
Now,
but Dawn heard that from other people and went with it, but the dogs weren't there. And I firmly believe for even weeks after Summer vanished, they were trying to find her. And they were possibly going to where she was or initially was. And I still think something like that was very possible from the behaviors I've seen from them. And her brothers thought the same.
Okay. Were the dogs there or not? Because I think we might have bad connection.
No, the dogs were not there.
Who the hell hauled off all those dogs?
They didn't haul them off. They don't have to. It's the same thing like we had happening with Peep and Tom over all the years. They just seemingly vanish at the most wild and convenient of times. I found it very strange. Immediately, it was like, wait, why are the dogs gone? Just like when the Peep and Tom appears throughout all the years and all the weekends. Wait a minute. Hold up. And it immediately was like, this isn't something's wrong here. And not all of them ever came back. And of course, the disruption caused them not to all come back. And at once, it took them time for a few of them to come back. But not all ever came back. But her favorite puppies, including Yucky, were going to certain areas and locations, even weeks after she vanished, in the weirdest ways and methods they didn't use to travel. And I reported it to law enforcement. Even Summer's brothers thought the dogs were onto something as well.
Okay, so hold on. Who took the dogs and who brought them back?
I don't think they were taken off anywhere and brought back.
So you're saying that this whole tribe of dogs ran off?
I mean, you're thinking of like you have to load dogs in a car and take them somewhere. It's not really how it works when you've got like a 20+ pile of dogs that are starving, half beaten. Now, is it? All you really got to do is call them somewhere else with food, do whatever. And then eventually they'll wander around, do whatever, come back, don't come back. We've seen signs of them being lured away with the Peeping Tom thing before they come back injured and all kinds of things throughout the years.
Okay.
So,
All right, hang on. We have Trev backstage. Hey, Trev. Good morning. Happy Monday. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Jody came into chat and she said she had a question, and the question was, why are there so many weird people around the case? And I think that
That
we
was the question. My question was actually going to be, if you knew for a fact that there's an entirely different story than planting flowers and a knee brace. And Summer was supposed to be right beside of somebody when she vanished. What would it change for you?
Well,
that was going to be my question, but we got kind of sidetracked, I guess.
that's
Probably because of the,
no, we do that all the time around here. For me, it would change nothing, because when I was first told about the disappearance of Summer Wells, that was on June 16th of 2021. So I started going through articles, and Candace, and it is her account. I know people say, oh, people spoof accounts all the time. It was her. She was arguing with people in the chat. Well, I say the chat, in the comments.
Oh,
And she was saying, at first, she said she was pouring cereal for Summer. And she had her back turned, and Summer went out the door. Then she was doing dishes. And then when Dawn spoke to Jeff Bobo, it was planting flowers. And then Candace spoke to WJHL 12 or 13 days, Trev, correct me, after Summer's disappearance on the 15th. And she said that her and her mother were planting flowers. And then she took Summer by the hand. All three boys were in front of the TV and said, watch Summer. And then she came back in 2 minutes later. Now, I don't know about you as a mother, but I know if I'm outside doing something and my child wants to go inside, well, when my children were little, I would just say, okay, go on inside. I wouldn't walk in and immediately say, where is my child? I would assume the room playing, they're using the bathroom, they're getting a snack, something. I would never just walk in and say, where is this one child?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And notice there are many versions where she told the boys, but then she changes it and slips every now and then and says the boy, and one in particular. So it's very odd. I don't think it's, I don't know. I just stick with controlled foul play of some variety.
Well, I mean, I know you said that you saw a red flash, and a lot of people wonder if that was Dawn coming home in the Subaru. Now, again, this is from LTL. Listen to this.
What time was that?
Like, how far in between calls between you and her having that call when she's picking up prescriptions to she's calling you saying Summer's missing? Do you know how long?
Yeah, I honestly can't say, but I remember. Only thing that I can remember, it was thinking, well, I might as well just work late because they're busy doing other things, and there's no point in me going home because I don't want to go home and sit there by myself. So I figured I'd just work late that day. And that's, yeah.
Okay. And why did Don call?
I have no idea. He just called. I don't even know if he was working at the time.
Okay.
But if he was working, he obviously wouldn't know that there was some dude looking at the little kids.
Who was the dude looking at the little kids? And you know that your ex Andy has been brought into this.
Now, are you asking me about Hunter and all the Andys?
I only know of one Andy. You have to educate me.
Yeah, well, there are multiples, including one that lived on a shed well, down at the bottom one for quite a while. There are quite a few of them. I don't know what Hunter was doing in that interview, and right now, him and Allie are going through things. Obviously, the family run Allie. I kind of want to be sensitive about that, but I firmly believe a lot of things in the Chris interview there are BS. Never could figure out why he wouldn't have actually said Fred instead. I have thoughts about all of it. All things are a little strange, but Andy was not home. Obviously, I've shown proof of that. And so, and then, I mean, just common sense and logic tells you if there's really somebody up on the property, because he said a bunch of names for somebody touching little children too, right? Wasn't that it?
It was beeped out, and later it came out it was Andy.
But the thing is, it was a bunch of names he listed. He couldn't remember the guy's name. It was this, that, and the other, a Bill, a Billy, and Andy, whatever.
In the original interview, it was beeped out, and then it was when it was unedited, it was Andy. We don't know what Andy it is.
I think the one was the dealer. He named Andy as the dealer specifically, but couldn't figure out it either. But either way, he named a bunch of names in the interview. And either way, the thing is that obviously Andy wasn't home, but also just common sense and logic tells you, doesn't it seem a little weird, the phone call itself, they supposedly heard all this on, right? Now, do you think Candace or Dawn, if they thought somebody was like up there touching all the little children, which I don't know why they'd say all the little children since it was only theirs that were supposed to be there, wouldn't you have called the police? Like if your husband called you and said, hey, there's a guy up there chasing around and touching little children, do you think your husband would be even on the phone with you, or would he be headed there immediately to like beat somebody's, or would both of you be on the phone to 911 going, oh my God, there's somebody up there touching little children on our property and we've left 4 young children at home? Yeah, the call itself is strange. I think there was possibly.
Now, hang on, what 4 young children? Because from what I'm understanding, the 3 boys were left behind.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in general, you've got 4 kids that live there. And
Okay.
that day, I know the boys were left behind. Summer was with them. But I'm saying in general, you get a call, you have 4 children that live at a residence, right? And you think people are up there touching your children you've left there or that live there, and what, you're not going to call 911? Come on. So that call couldn't have been anything like described. Even Dawn, like,
Have you thought that maybe Candace orchestrated that call because Hunter didn't hear it? It's what Candace said to him.
Well, he also said at a certain point in some of the things that he could overhear it because, she had told him to be quiet because it was Dawn on the phone calling, and he could hear just because of the space. But either way, I think it's possible it was orchestrated. I think it was also possible they were just having a conversation about Dobbs.
Okay, we have a question. The Rogersville Review, July 21st, 2021, Candace said the dogs were home.
They've said a lot of things about the dogs when and where it's suited. Just like the screen when and where it's suited. Just like everything else when and where it's suited.
Okay, we have another question from the chat. Dolores wants to know why you said Andy was selling sedatives to be used on the kids at 110.
All right. I know that's been a continual thing for eons now. I clarified in that live if people would ever go back and watch it instead of clips, and spun narratives with it that the rest have put out on purpose. All right. For starters, I was never like, oh, people are selling sedatives to actually sedate the children, and people are doing things to them. What I said was that, Monster was selling green over there. It was going to the kids, right? And look, it's green. I was pretty pissed and triggered that night, but it was still green. That was the only thing I knew of. And it still, for a little one, when they're smoking, has a sedative effect, right? Yes, indeed it does, because it does for you adults out here. Anyway, and I have my suspicions that he was selling other things over there. What those are, can't really say. I'm sure Ellie, the boys, Candace, and Dawn know. But at that time, it came out that it was green. And at that time, there were also some really strange things happening over there. And there were an abundance of weird things around young girls coming and going. And I was worried that, you're in the middle of all this chaos, and you're like, okay, here is this guy I found out that has touched siblings and everybody else throughout all the years. At the age of 5 too, here are all these little girls, blah 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 blah. What if they're using even something as simple as green or whatever else over there, and it's being used to sedate, to have sedative effects on children? So it is a worry, because even weed can do that. It is a worry. And because I am aware that Monster is also a pillhead, I assumed that there was probably shit like that going on back and forth, but had no proof of that. And so, but he wouldn't have sold for that to be done on purpose. Do you get what I'm saying? If he was, the green was being given to the kids or whatever, right? And that's the thing. I know after the fact that he was selling directly to the children. Fact.
Now, hold on. Then why is he not in jail?
I don't know. You tell me.
Have you reported all this to law enforcement?
Yes, the FBI and TV are well aware.
When it happened, did you report it back then, prior to June 15th?
Yeah. The first messages I showed the feds, Trev, were of Andy and his weed shit. Yes. The feds are well aware, Trev.
That's after June 15th.
All communications, all of them.
Okay, first off, I'm not sure why you're so angry all of a sudden. I'm just asking a simple question.
Angry, Trev. I'm trying to make sure.
Did you call law enforcement when all these concerns were present? Not after June 15th, when this became a public spectacle. When you were concerned that there were things being sold to sedate children, or as you say, things being sold to children, did you call the police?
I don't know. Look, I'm not. I called you a couple weeks ago to help me this summer. You know what you told me? Reported it to TBI. But they already knew I was trying to prove something to help her, and you told me no. But now you're up here going to act like you're going to question me about something. But here's the thing, Trev. You don't know what any of us reported over the years. And trust me, I reported all of it, from Candace and talking about little ones being sold for meth and everything else, all up to present day. You all have no clue what was reported or done between any of us ever.
Okay, well, since you're bringing up whatever you had said something about, then I'll correct the record there. You asked me to go somewhere on a road near where all this near a beach creek, and you asked for me to go.
Let him answer. This is not Jerry Springer. One at a time, and there's no reason to be angry.
I'm not angry, Brooks. I'm trying to be heard. Because my voice, No,
we understand you perfectly fine. We understand you perfectly fine. People are going to have questions because, like I said, you're in the eye of the hurricane. You wanted to come up and ask a question. You asked your question. I answered it. And I said, for me, if the planting flowers story comes out, I answered the question. So other people have questions. So let's let Trevor continue his train of thought.
What I said when you asked me to go check something out and to be able to prove whatever you had been saying, I said to report it because I am not anything but someone who's local, who cares and wants to help. I'm not an investigator. I'm not anybody in a position that should be or can be investigating or following up on anything. That is law enforcement's job. And I believe anything that's reported to them that's what should be done. And then they follow up on it from that way. That's what happened. I don't follow up on anything for anybody. It's not because it's used. If Brooks asked me to go look for something, I would say, and the police need to look at it. If it doesn't matter who asked me, that's their job.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't to investigate. It wasn't to do anything that law enforcement has not done. It was to be able to prove or disprove something to maybe help Summer in a way, and to have someone there that I thought would be a voice for, and be able to go, okay, well, JSB is or is not wrong on this, and to actually hold the phone, because I had nobody else to hold the phone. You can't drive with one.
You can't drive with a phone?
It's not legal to drive with a phone, nor around where I was going is it safe to do so. It's one of the worst areas ever to get hit or car wrecks.
Okay, because I have this thing that hangs down from my rearview mirror, and I have my phone in it for maps and things like that. I ignore calls and texts, but my phone goes with me.
But yeah,
I'm not worried about being tracked on Google or anything. So yeah, my phone goes everywhere.
Well, so do mine, but I don't understand the worried about being tracked thing. I wasn't worried about being tracked. I wanted Trev there as someone to hold the camera so I could legally drive. I didn't have one of those things in the vehicle, and I told him he could follow behind me as well. Anyway,
Christina has a question. Did you ever see Grandis with a knee brace?
Yeah, I believe so. And I never said that I went into Andy's phone and wrote "it's done." Man, the trolling in here today is man.
Yeah, just like I said, don't even worry about that. Just I'll take care of that. Just continue your conversation. Summer is more important. Everyone take a deep breath. Actually, let's take a second. Let's take a second and thank Diana, Mama Bear, Jules. We're all mad here. Rosebud, Still Waters, Dolores, Pat K. We have a lot, Kimberly Mann. We have a lot of love coming through, gifted memberships. So let's take a second and get our umbrellas.
And yes, the text that Hunter's seen and the "it's done" text does exist, and it was Andy that sent it, but it was an accidental, and it's not what everybody's making it to be.
Well, we don't know because we weren't there. I wasn't part of the conversation, nor was Trev. So I think that we got that cleared up. Trev wants the chain of evidence to go through as opposed to him.
Evidence. And it wasn't a chain, and it's not something TBI, FBI, or law enforcement would know. It was just a way to possibly confirm something for us, for me, for you all, and to help Summer in that way to straighten things out, at least online, and get a little less of the nonsense going, That was all.
Okay, well, you're doing fine. No one
was evidence. If I thought there was whatever, I don't come to you all with that. I do actually call FBI, TBI, law enforcement, even Pruitt and Lawson and the rest, right? I don't come to YouTube and go, hey, I found some evidence. Hey, I found this, and that, and the other, because that does happen. And I don't come to you all, and I don't out everything here. I don't, record and play every conversation I've ever had with FBI, LE, etc., or reporting whatever. I don't do that. When I have something real to say, real evidence, anything like that, it always goes to LE.
Jude wants to know, what was Andy driving on June 15th?
I mean, this is in my very first videos online, and he was driving my soul.
Is that a Kia?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Fred said he saw coming back down the road.
Well, I mean, y'all tell me how Fred seen anything when he wasn't even in there.
Well, I mean, how do you know Fred was home or not? It could have been you coming home from.
I heard Fred leave out, and then I watched Fred come back in way after the helicopters were up for summer. That's how I know, because I was there, because we were witnesses to it in real time. That's how.
Well, again, I wasn't there. You're helping us out. Let's go back to the key players. Not being rude to you, Jody, but the key players are Dawn, Candace, and Grandis. We know you're not a suspect. If anyone needs a reminder, I can play this from Pruitt.
My son was not a creeper on the Wells property.
Okay, again, I asked you to quit worrying about the chat and just stick with.
Well, I'll quit worrying about your chat. When you decide to visit mine, and when you see the other creators allowing this in their chats to guess, and you're letting it rain to sort of trigger and target me, you let me know. It's all about monster. It's about abuser. It's got the worst critters in here.
Listen,
I can have a decent conversation with you, but you can ask your chat. Even I don't allow this to any of you all in mine.
Your chat, the last time I tried to ask you a question in there, you have to be a month to ask a question.
It goes off and on depending on how many trolls want to come in and do this exact thing.
And these people are my friends. They're not critters. People are asking questions about Summer. It's not about you. So
it's not about me, but it is about Summer, and it's about.
I guess thank you, Hawkins, and thank you, Pruitt. Appreciate that. So I'm going to play this for you as it originally is, and I'll share it on my community wall here in just a second.
You got specific questions that are pertinent to this case?
Yes. Suspect Brown is threatening people on the internet. I find that odd.
Suspect 2 threats are as far as you believe it.
So that's Pruitt saying she's not a suspect. And we don't have trolls. There isn't a name that's rolling through right now that I don't know. Okay? If people have a question, then that they're exercising their free speech. That's it.
It's been years of this, but it's when I can read chats and they're filled with all this misinformation and stuff, which has always been a thing I rail against, and you know it, Brooks. They're filled with all the narratives and all the garbage that's been put out about all of us, and they have everything wrong, and you know, and I know that half of what's being said in here, even you know, is false, but it's allowed to be. You know, that's a little different. And right now with Monster running the streets and all the things, it's, you know.
Snazzy said, thank you, Jody Sue, for joining us and giving us context on the case the day that Summer went missing. Messy Jessie said, we're all sick of lies, misinformation. We want Summer found. Rhonda said, I don't have a problem with JS being here. No, I don't think anyone does. They just have questions. What do you think my narrative is?
I don't know that you have one, Brooks. I know that Monster tried coming to you first when I was told because he thought everybody was making $500 off an interview, and you turned him down, is what I was told by Big Eyes. That was 2021.
And that did happen around Thanksgiving weekend. He said he would come on the show. He wanted some money, and I won't do that. Not going to happen. I mean, if somebody needs $20 to eat, or you know they're stuck at the gas station, you know, I'll get through the afternoon. But what he was asking for, I was just like, no, shit in your hat. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we knew that, and it's like Big Al's told me. She's like, well, he went to Brooks them over there, and they told him no, because he was wanting $500. And I know this was after Tiffany Marie had already, heard him screaming at us, saying he didn't give one flying F about Summer effing Wells. But if there was money to be made, he was here for it. And Tiffany's admitted that openly and freely, and we have the recordings of it. And I mean, that's really all he's here for now, because he's around. Everything's just lit up again to try to trigger me. And I am in a very, heightened state, which I'm sure is what's meant to happen. And so I am a little sensitive right now, yes, to a whole lot of things. And we got some really bad news last night. And so I'm extraordinarily sensitive on other things. Plus, in the past 24 hours, we got word that there are actual fucking hits being put out on some of us because of this stuff on YouTube.
Well,
so yeah, I'm not really.
You need to call Hawkins County, and you need to ask for protective custody. You need to tell where this is coming from, or you call the FBI or the TBI and tell them you need custody.
You're assuming it's not been done.
Okay. I apologize. Okay, Trevor, you want to get back to this, because I still have a lot of questions if Dawn was home. I'm not accusing Dawn.
I mean, even I wonder sometimes if he was or was not, because I was entirely confused when he showed up at the stop sign.
At the stop sign?
Yeah.
What time?
Him and Monster all come in together as like the cops were coming in, everything kind of clouded at once. When Dawn showed up down there at the stop sign, was talking about it for a second or two, I was like, wait a minute. And that's how I knew the flash from earlier that we'd witnessed going up their driveway. I was like, wait, how is he here showing up? But then who was that and what was that up the driveway earlier? And it was like, hold up, something ain't right here. But that's how I knew there was something wrong, and it's why it just, when I asked my son when we were out on our bank and that flash went up the driveway over there at 110, I was like, who is that? That was my brain picking up on something was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, because the traction wasn't right, the color wasn't right, it didn't complete the loop. And I was so sick and I felt so bad though, And Eldest knew I'd already worn myself out, had been just tense, and then the cancer, everything else. But Eldest was like, Mom, it's the neighbors. That's all he said. I was like, oh, okay, and I let it go, and I probably shouldn't have, but at the time it's just like, scream, you don't put it together until, right? And so then when Dawn shows up at the bottom, close to 7, it's like, wait a minute. Then what the hell was the red flash going up the driveway? Because that's the only real red car over there other than their van, and it darn sure wasn't the van. So then your brain goes, uh-oh. And then that's how you know something is not just what you thought. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, but when he showed up, the car was gleaming, like shiny, and like it'd been freshly washed, but the one, and it was like, this doesn't add up. What is, and I just, I just knew it was like, uh-oh, so what was the flash up the driveway earlier? And for me, it's moments like that matter more than the scream.
Okay, like, I mean, like he just washed the Subaru?
I mean, it was shiny, bro. It was gleaming, and at the time they showed up, you got to think you're in the middle of hollows, right? And it's shaded by that point in the evening. there was no real sun to be shining, and yet that car was gleaming red. But he was supposed to be taking the job sites too, but after a day or two it would always get dusty because of them going up the driveway, but it was shining that day. And it was, my brain went, but the flash I seen earlier was either extraordinarily dust covered or the clear coat was gone off of that red. Something was wrong with the flash of red color that went up that driveway earlier.
Okay, Celeste wants to know, have you seen Don drive that Subaru before that day? Because transferring tools between vehicles is a pain in the ass, and Don doesn't strike me as a guy that would make extra work for him.
I had actually seen him driving the car. He was as bad as Monster for, like, what Monster would do was like my soul, right? It was supposed to be mine, left with me, blah, blah, blah. But then he would take it to make sure I couldn't go anywhere, to make sure I and the kids couldn't go everywhere together. And Subaru for Candace was much the same. He knew she couldn't travel or take all the kids, and it would make sure she'd have to leave some and this the other. But when they wanted to control, they sort of did that through vehicles to keep us from being able to go places or have kids. And Dawn was always bad about keeping one of the kids anyway. But the thing is that yeah, I mean, it wasn't unusual for Dawn to be driving it. He had been driving it more during that time than I'd ever seen prior. You know what I mean? Like leading up to summer vacation, yeah, he was absolutely driving it a whole lot more than he had been, for sure. He'd been sticking to that.
It's safe to say that taking his own car on June 15th wouldn't be a big deal. We have another question. When you were on the hill the day that Summer went missing, okay, looking for Summer, when you saw Don, and we've seen Don in his work clothes, he's got spackle all over him. Was he in clean clothes or his work clothes?
You know, I've seen Dawn many times throughout that evening after, Summer had vanished. And throughout the evening and night. And as I recall, they were kind of just his average clothes. They weren't nice or spiffy or anything. And I think they probably at one point probably had him change out of clothes and took clothes and things like that, But I don't recall him being anything nice or super shiny clean or anything.
I don't mean a tuxedo. I don't mean church clothes. Was he in work clothes? You know what work clothes look like. Was he? Did he have?
That's usually white stained t-shirt and jeans, even if he's not at work. And as I recall, it's just his average get up. When
he has spackling on him, because he's America's master drywaller. Did he have that on?
I mean, he had his average clothes on. He wore to work, he wore at home, wore out in town. It was like a white shirt, jeans type of thing. And I didn't really pay enough attention to him in great detail as far as his body and everything to see if there was spackle on it that day. I'm sure law enforcement and feds, though, have pictures of all of them and their outfits and what they're wearing and all of that, though.
Okay. So safe to say he might have changed clothes. All right. Let's just stick to the topics and let's just not, think about what we're going to say next. Okay. Trev, anything you want to add?
I think
Trev is muted. All right. Let's get back to this. Different things that Don said about being home that day.
Well, everyone knows you called your wife. Could you kind of give us a little details about that? Do you kind of remember, was it morning, afternoon, later afternoon when you called her? Do you remember how that conversation went at all? Because Hunter's saying you called about, two people touching children or whatever. So could you kind of tell us if you remember what time the call was and how that conversation went?
Well, the only thing I know is, I call her from time to time just to see what she's doing. And she said that she's taking care of some prescriptions or whatever. It seemed to me that it was later than that, but because I made up my mind, well, they're busy doing this and whatever, I might as well just stay late at work. So I was working late.
Hey, Don. Your wife messaged me and said that you was at home in a 3 o'clock hour, and I have that as evidence. She did not want nobody to know you was at home.
That's not true. After she messaged you that, if that's not the case.
Do you have...
Sorry, I had my mic muted. So, according to this Jenna, who I'm sure is a nice lady, she has the text, which has been turned over, where Candace said he was home at 3 p.m. Would there be any reason for Jenna to lie? She also said other things to Jenna we won't bring up today. You there, Trev?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Well, I mean, I know in real time in that road, Candace and Dom were laughing at those like Jenna and all them in their inboxes and all of you out here, and we're actively talking about lying to all of you and putting out lies through you and playing games with those like Jenna. So even though...
I'm going to stop you right there. Why would the parents of a missing child play games with YouTube, the media, anyone? Why would that be cute to them? Because all it causes is for people to get a hold of TBI, FBI, Hawkins County, and slow down the process. Trev, I'm going to let you answer this. Trev, you answer this.
Say that again, sorry.
Why would the parents of a missing child play games and lie or prank people, especially saying something like Dawn was home at 3 p.m. Dawn showed up in clean clothes, or Dawn changed his clothes, or I did something very, very inappropriate with Hunter on Ben Hill Road? Why would anyone play games like that with their daughter's disappearance? This whole throwing off YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever makes no sense. Why? And these are the people that are not cooperating with law enforcement. You take it, Trev.
That's a great question. I've asked that since things started with the prank call and all the different statements of, well, it was this person, Mexico, the president. I mean, CPS. I mean, God only knows who hasn't been mentioned, but I think it's been a circle of it's been a circus, and if things run in circles, then it's hard to keep track of what actually matters, and that's partially how Summer's been lost in all of this is the circle that this has caused.
I agree with Trev, and I think it's been done on purpose since the very second Summer was reported missing.
Did you happen to see, Jody? Just simple answer. What time Candace and Grandis got home when they were approaching the driveway on June 15th?
No.
Okay, Christine Alaska has a question. Who texted it's done and the meaning? Was it you or Andy?
It was Andy, but it was an accident, and it was well after Summer vanished. So there's that. And it had nothing to do with Summer at all. It was a text, I believe, that he was going to start saying it's down in the mailbox. But then the autocorrect came into play and finished it. And when it did, he sent it, and I seen it when he come back from work, I believe, and I was like, oh my God, what the, and I left him with all the proof he needed to show when and where and how it was taken and context in case you need it, but I don't know.
Well, let me
Anyway,
ask you this. If it happened after Summer went missing, then how did Hunter know about it before Summer went missing?
he didn't know about it before. He said he found it after Candace came over there wanting to know what he told feds and this and the other, and they were all
No, he didn't have Candace's phone. It was with the authorities. He said that he saw it that day when they were together.
He says in the interview when Candace came over.
I would listen to it again. Listen to it again.
I have, and maybe you need to play the clip here. Maybe it'd be more clear. But he says when she came and he wanted to know, he's been through her phone, because obviously Summer had vanished, this and the other, and he swapped the phones out and he went through her phone. He's seen the messages in the trash area, and they were all from her drug dealer Andy. And that was after Summer vanished. The message "it's done" happened after Summer vanished.
But they weren't together after that. The TBI told Hunter and Allie.
Hunter and Allie and everybody else have told you all in the whole world that Candace called him at work, won't know what he'd said to feds. Even I know. Candace told me she went to ask him what he had told them. So yeah, she did see and talk to them and go down by there.
Yeah, on the 17th, and then they called the TBI, and they wanted to know what Candace was driving.
No, I mean, all of them, including Candace,
he was referring to was June 15th when he was with them.
No, he's not.
Well, all I know is what he said. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know.
You can really listen to the clip, and he says Summer vanished, Candace down by here, blah blah, went through her phone. He does say whatever, I don't know. He says a lot of things, but he says that he swapped out her phone for one he had. I believe he told Kristen it was his uncle's or somebody gave to him, or his mom's or somebody's that looked like Candace's, because his phone
he got that after the TBI or the authorities took his phone, and so then he had another phone.
Yeah, and he said he swapped it out for Candace's, was laying on the table on the porch, and went through it, and he's seen those messages while Candace was walking back to the vehicle to get something, I guess, to bring back up to him and Allie. Anyway, and so then she was like, hey, you got my phone, whatever, right? But yeah, I mean, I know because we were there, I seen it. The text was not sent until after Summer had vanished. And Monster and I had an argument about it. I was like, are you an idiot? He's like, well, it just said it ain't a big deal. And I'm like, well, whatever. But I took screenshots as there's proof. I think I actually still have a picture of it around here somewhere on one of the backups and stuff. But yeah, it was not what people make it up to be.
Well, I think the question is, what does "it's done" mean? You said it's autocorrect. What was it supposed to say?
Autocorrect or autofill, but that's what I was just saying a second ago. Is that initially I believe the text was supposed to be "it's down in the mailbox," is what he was going to start to say, but he never finished it. And then while he was working, doing whatever it was, autofill and all that came into play, and it sent. You know what I mean? It just finished from where it had been left and sent. And I was like, oh my God, And even though it had been sent after Summer vanished, like a couple days or something, it had nothing to do with Summer. And it had to do with him dropping off green or something in their mailbox. As I recall, something along those lines.
Okay, we have another question. How did you know Summer was definitely barefoot?
Me?
Yeah, you had said that on your channel.
I don't know. You mean like barefoot the day she vanished?
Yeah, this is on your channel.
I don't know. I may have said that. I don't know that she was definitely barefoot, but she always stayed barefoot. And law enforcement had told us that she was barefoot. Law enforcement told you all that. So
No, Candace told us that.
maybe Pruitt and them said that she was barefoot too, I believe.
Well, he wouldn't have known. He didn't see her. This is all what Candace said. All right, Trev, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, as far as that, yeah, it's whatever they've included that the mother reports this or that. I mean, it's based off what they're told is what they get. I don't know how they would have proof of things like that. Some things you have to go off what you're told. Law enforcement is told something. That's what they're gonna. That's all they get.
Yeah, TBI says she was barefoot. And then you got to think about the prints. They were told all of us to be barefoot footprints. So I mean, but who knows if those count or not either? We were told they didn't. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like, but she was always barefoot. TBI said that. Elise said that, but we all don't know. Even they only have an idea based on what Candace said, right?
Did you see Hunter that day?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Had you seen Hunter previous to that day?
Like ever in his whole life and mine, or?
No, I mean, however you want to answer it. I don't know. I don't know your life.
I mean, I know who the kid is. I've met him. He's been at my house with the boys and Candace once or twice. Coming and going. Seen him in the vehicles with them. Seen him hurt him over there, an alley, and everybody else. I mean, of course. And
Did you ever suspect anything inappropriate between him and Candace?
you know, for me, Candace always had a habit of keeping teens over there, especially teens of his age. And I always figured it was more of a partying, you know, they give them stuff to party with, and then those kids would basically watch her kids while she got hammered, type of thing, you know. Auto babysitters for partying purposes. Never really thought that anything weird or anything like that. And now I kind of wonder, but I don't know. Only law enforcement and feds will know.
Well, it's different being in the movie and watching the movie. You know, when you watch Jaws, my cat watches Jaws all the time. So I'm watching the movie and I'm like, you know, get out of the water, get out of the water. But if I'm in the water, I wouldn't know a shark's going to bite me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, why would she say something?
Precisely, and that's what.
Fun to see. That's not my kid's nickname, nor has it ever been.
Okay, it says, I'm sorry, I've seen your pain plus the pain he puts you through. When does his lives, it's all like you, when he has people thinking you're a monster. Then it said, it's okay. Did you tell someone that Donnie was home at 3 the day Summer went missing? She said, no, not at 3. What time did you say? And none of the texts that have been put out make any damn sense.
So they was at the lake, and then
And no offense to you, Jody, but I mean, none of the ones you have put out we can put into context. I mean, I've seen stuff about your period, Shark Week, and everything. And
I
so,
don't
like,
think I've ever put anything out about my period or Shark Week. And Brooks, not all those texts are meant for all of you all to put together. They're for others who need to see them and put pieces together that might actually hold the key in the community. So I'm sorry they don't all make sense to all of you all, and they're all lacking context for a great deal of you, or those who don't actually listen to me and they listen to clip channels and other creators who tell them that, oh, you know, all kinds of things about me. And they can't put anything together, but I'm pretty transparent over on my channel. I talk quite a bit, and then if people would listen, they'd know where a whole lot of those messages and things placed, and that they're proof of other things, and they fit into the puzzles and fires that I work and that others could work if they followed along. But the
well,
messages are
we support
here.
law enforcement here, and what people put out into the public, of course, we're going to look through when it involves Summer Wells. And so
Well, you could look at them, but I mean, not all of them are intended for you all.
I didn't put them out.
Nope.
I mean, I didn't put them out. Someone did. I mean, are you saying that they're spoofed?
What are you talking about, spoofed?
Oh, you know how somebody will take a
Are you talking about Jenna's?
I mean, I guess anyone.
I don't think Jenna's are spoofed. I mean, we've all seen that, but I don't think Jenna's are spoofed in any way. I think Candace really did say it to her, and Candace has even said she thinks Dawn or someone he knows is guilty repeatedly, even though people don't want to ever really air that. But you know, it's like I do often on my lives and things. I know people hate my former receipts, but I'll show in real time the messages throughout all the years in rolling format, not just screenshot format, and I can do that with all of my receipts. See, so it's a little different. So nobody can accuse me of spoofing or making up things. You know, I guess unless I was a way back psychic or anything.
No, not you spoofing other people. Did someone spoof you? So the stuff that's been like all the screenshots that you have shown.
Oh, I've seen a great deal. Many people take my messages and do weird things with them for sure. I've also seen them put me together because I often wear my same favorite PJs and things and clip my vids side by side, making put them all
We're not
together.
talking about you here. And I didn't
Yeah,
mean
but
the show to go this way. This show is not about you, hun. You
I'm
came
not
on.
saying this about me, but you're asking me about spoof messages. I've seen all kinds of tricks.
This is my show, and I'm going to talk.
You asked me a question, Brooks, about spoofed messages and how they fake stuff around here. They do fake it. Yes.
You never said anything about your period and Shark Week. I remember seeing those messages on your channel. I asked you, did someone spoof you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't recall any message specifically being about my period and Shark Week, but it could have been included in another part that actually mattered more that somebody missed, but instead latched on to period and Shark Week and made that a thing instead of whatever the intended thing was in there.
I don't even know what the intended thing was because I was really confused because you were saying that Andy was going to be looking at PORN. You needed a muscle relaxer because you were on your period, and you said something about it being Shark Week, and all he wants to do is watch Shark Week, and so then you couldn't get any loving.
I don't think that was on my channel, Brooks. I mean, if you'd like to bring up the message, I'd love to see it.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, let me try to find it. Yeah, Trev, do you get laid on Shark Week, Trev?
No, but I do have to hop off for a doctor's appointment. I just had one last question, if you didn't mind, and then I'll jump. Jody, so you had mentioned that you had said something about a lot of teenagers coming up on the property, and you had said that you said something about being given party things. Do you mean alcohol, drugs? I mean, as an assumption, at least, is that what you're referring to?
I assumed it would probably just be alcohol and weed, that type of thing. You know what I mean? That's what I had assumed through the years. And I mean, you'd hear them over there, and all these teens just raising Cain, you know, but she'd always be like, oh, they're over here because they were from bad homes or a bad environment and la la la, and we're doing whatever and giving them time out in the country and blah blah. But I'm like, yeah, she's using them as an auto babysitter so she can get hammered and somebody watch the kids, you know.
And how far back is this that you're talking about?
Since they stopped being so quiet over there and started making noise, because it took them a few years. It was rather strange in hindsight. I always kind of knew they were sort of laying low from something.
Okay.
But it was a couple years before Summer vanished. Like, they finally cut back and cleared some of the stuff off the property, and then they started getting loud. Then they started being more in the open. A whole lot more noise, a whole lot more things happening in and around there. And then all of a sudden it was, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was always traffic, right? But they were very kind of quiet. You know what I mean? Right. And then all of a sudden it all just kind of lit off, and then it was Candace and them constantly with just kids, teens, somebody constantly staying there. Them keeping other elderly folks there half the time, sort of like under control. Visitors from out of state just appearing in the middle of the night. Strangers coming in and broken necks, weird things. And it was like, what in the world is going on over there? And the whole time you see DCS there, you see them fighting with friends when DCS there, and DCS comes and DCS goes, and DCS has been called, and it's just, and all these things. It was drastic changes, and I just.
Okay, so the illegal substances being given to minors, that was reported, I hope, at the time, because you say that's years before Summer went missing.
I did not see them giving them to them, Trev.
But then how do you know now that they were? How is that your assumption after Summer goes missing, but not at the time?
Well, I mean, like, when you meet some of these teens, right? Have you ever seen somebody and, like, you're like, oh, yeah, they're the type. Do you get what I'm saying? And then you know what kind of neighbors you live next to. And, well, I mean, you can hear Hunter about her giving him alcohol and the vapes and things, obviously. And then you hear things around town, and you hear things from other community members, and you just know the kind of people. You get what I'm saying? Doesn't take a genius, but you just can't call it the police and be like, hey, I think this, that, and the other. And then be like, oh, okay, we're going to run into their house.
So actually in Tennessee, if you suspect abuse or neglect in any form on a minor, you are required to report it by law. It's not, you don't have to have proof to provide. You don't have to have evidence or proof to provide that. If you suspect it, you have to report it.
Yeah, and a lot of people did, Trev.
I'm asking you. I'm not asking on anybody else's behalf. You have brought these things to the forefront. I'm asking, did you report these things, or did you wait until after someone went missing to bring them up?
Trev, you are trying to imply that I did not report.
I'm asking if you reported or not. You have the ability to answer without word salad. I preferred Caesar. I'm asking you a question. Did you report or did you not report these things you saw?
And I've answered it already. And we said, yes, we had reported through the years, including Candace talking about meth children for sale. Trevor, I've answered it 1,000,000 times.
So at the time that all these substances were being provided to teenagers, you reported it at the time.
Oh my God. Trev, are you listening to the words coming out of my mouth?
Yes, you're talking in circles. I'm just asking a question.
Throughout the years,
that's fine.
We reported what we were seeing. I did anyway, to law enforcement. Can I make that any clearer?
That's the first time you've answered me. You just talked and whatever.
No, it wasn't. I've answered it on my own channel 1,000,000 other times.
And And we are so grateful that you have promoted your channel for the last 2 hours. That's wonderful. But just answer the question.
But if people ever pay attention, I wouldn't get asked things like this and be, quote, hammered down on, asking if I reported anything.
Well,
Everybody and their brother
Nobody's
reported.
hammering down on you. You've inserted yourself here, claiming that you saw all these things. Somebody's going to ask you if you reported it.
Trevor,
Nobody's
who are you?
hammering down on you. Sorry, I
Trevor,
don't do 13 hours a day and watch your lives.
Trevor, who are you?
Question.
In our neighborhood and community, who are you?
I'm sorry?
What are you talking about inserting? Who
You.
truly inserted here, Trev?
Say it
You're
again?
not a neighbor. You're not a witness. You're nobody to Summer Wells. You and all these people are the actual inserters, though you call us the witnesses and neighbors and community members the ones who insert. We are not.
Incorrect. I came forward to help. You came forward to put your name out there, and you came on here having 12-hour live streams talking about this, that, and the other, talking in circles, speaking in cryptic code. I came out and tried to put up flyers. I tried to help start the reward fund. I did things to actually help someone else. You interjected yourself because you're a witness.
Or anything else off of Summer. I mean, if I wanted any of that, Trev, I would have come out day one. I did not come out public day one. We were some of the last to come out, and I did so to protect myself, my children, and to show the world a bigger picture. But you all are the ones who inserted in our lives.
Well, I'm glad I answered it because so many people around her failed her. And the people that sit here and did not report things they were supposed to, that's who failed. So I'm glad people that actually care inserted themselves. Have a great day. See you later.
We didn't fail anybody. We already live with the what ifs. And we did report. How do you think it feels living? Knowing Summer vanished and you were trying to do something and you knew something was wrong and you and others for years had reported, and then she vanishes and you're left with what if.
Well, I hope you have those police report numbers and those CPS case numbers, because when it all comes to fruition, you will be called as a witness. Now, we have a question here. Are there places Jody would recommend they search?
I will not give any locations to the internet on where it needs to be searched.
All right, hon. Well, I appreciate you coming up. I truly do.
Thanks, Brooks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Well, man, guys, I apologize for that. I cannot believe that. And that's something we don't do here. You know, we just don't.
Jerry has more ass than you do.
Yeah, we're not the Jerry Springer show. My goodness. If you want to grab the link and come up, be prepared to answer questions. I don't understand it. I just don't. All right, back to what we were doing. Gotta be kidding me. Here's the question of the day. Do you think Dawn was home or not?
So they was at the lake, and then Hunter and his, I guess they went, she called and says, come by the house, you know, and she begged to take Hunter to the lake with them so they could swim a little bit. Yeah. Seen them videos, and then I took her back and I said everything was okay, that situation between now.
Yeah. Which situation?
Sir.
Which situations?
This is all our property here to the left. All this, our house is up there on top. All this is our property. So I turned straight away in here.
There was never somebody that just disappeared without a clue that I know of. I'm sure it happens, but not that I've ever seen in my life.
Well, when there's an abduction, I mean, what else would you call it?
Yeah.
Disappearing. I don't understand that.
But there wasn't an abduction, Dawn. That has been proven by the FBI card team. The FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Card Team even came to Beach Creek. It's a team dedicated to investigate technical, analytical, and resource assistance on site during non-family child abductions, ransom, child abductions, and mysterious disappearances of children. You see, it's not mysterious if the parents are involved. You see, it's not mysterious if they wandered off their own property. We brought the card team in, and everything they could find, there was no indication whatsoever of a child abduction. That's where we're at.
You know, but yeah, somebody was either hiding in the weeds there, waiting for the shade, either come in the basement. But yeah, I mean, we weren't 30 feet. They weren't 30 feet away when she got gone. Yeah. I mean, maybe 40 at the most.
Right.
I don't know.
Saw that night. How well do you know him? And do you know why he was out there around your boys?
Yeah, a lot of our neighbors heard, you know, us screaming Summer's name, and so I think I don't know, you know, I don't know for sure because I wasn't there, but I've known him for years.
Well, I'm gonna end this show, but I mean, if you've said everything, I'm not looking into the church people to make you angry. I'm looking into the church people because they were some of the last people around your daughter, Donald.
No, they weren't around her at all. We was at our house and nobody was here but me. I wasn't here.
So when Robin tells Chris McDonough in that interview,
he goes, everyone was here, me. Then he goes, I wasn't here. I'm not saying that Dawn has anything to do with Summer's disappearance. I'm not saying that. We know he had a slip when he was talking to Brian Enton, and he said maybe we weren't paying attention. Thank you so much, Curse with Curiosity.
and she said,
Okay, this is what he said. I didn't want to go home and sit by myself. Easy, Dawn, because supposedly the 3 boys were home. Hunter is confused. He thinks Dawn was home. Candace messaged Jenna saying Dawn was home. I took her back. We turned here. We weren't 30 feet. They weren't 30 feet away. A lot of our neighbors heard us screaming Summer. Nobody was here but me. I wasn't there. Now, what the hell is going on here? Where were you the day your daughter went missing? And no, I am not accusing Dawn. Not accusing Candace. But no story adds up. Not a one from anyone that has come forward. Not a damn one.
For some odd reason that I don't understand. My oldest boy, though, he'll stop up from time to time and say he misses his sister, you know, stuff. But, you know, your mind has a way of forgetting every now and then. I find myself doing it too. Every now and then but then it comes flooding all back, of course, you know. Yeah, I might get away from it for about 15, 20 seconds, but it'll all come back.
and he goes, yeah, but like I said before, you've been through hell. Me too. Most people cannot understand certain things unless they've been through hell. I never thought I'd be in this situation after all I've been through. God has a plan, I'm sure. As long as we trust him, he promises to work it out for good. I just don't know how I can possibly get over my daughter. I just don't see how. Never expected anything like her. Now just gone. Why do you have to get over your daughter, though? Like, if a kidnapper has her and she's alive and someone just took her.
How could you get over that? And why did he say we just got her back? And Jody Sue said on here that she knows there's a hit out on several people. Well, when someone has a hit out on you, they don't put it on the internet. You see, you're the last to know. You would be the last person to know. So please don't get all upset thinking that Jody Sue has a hit out on her or other people that have spoke out. Watch the movie Goodfellas. All right? If there's a hit, no one knows except for the person that is hit.
Why do you have to get over her? You know what I mean?
Wells says he himself has been a victim of online speculation, as he says some have claimed he is involved. Did you have anything to do with your daughter's disappearance?
Well, I'm at work all day, every day, you know. I love my daughter with all my heart, and I try to love everybody. And it's been a real experience, you know, me turning to YouTube for help and seeing the nature. I've never seen anything like this in my life, so it's been quite a lesson to me. I've never been on YouTube or Facebook or anything. I probably never will again if I can help it, but it's been quite an experience. It's been very educational. You know, I've learned a lot.
So, yes or no to the question?
Okay. Oh, well, I mean, no.
They haven't accused you of Candace or anything, right? Guys, I heard
Man,
about
I got hey, you have to, I have 7 alibis.
What?
If not more. Baby, don't break my fucking door. Come on.
No,
I have 7 alibis.
Okay, you have to admit, when Candace was breaking the doors around the house, that was something else. I mean, the Kardashians cannot keep up with them. Could you imagine if DT Driver was telling his dad joke and suddenly he stopped and said, "Brooks, quit breaking my fucking doors"? No. I don't break doors.
I have 7 alibis. Candace ain't got none. She's going down.
you were at work. Right?
Yep.
Candace, I'm going to have to ask you some more questions. I told you this. Did you do anything this summer?
No.
You know what happened this summer?
No.
Do you know who took Summer?
No.
Anybody in your family involved with this?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And that is from LTL. I want to say thank you for all of you for being here today. Wasn't expecting what happened. Wendy, exactly. OJ would break doors, not me. I'm actually the one that goes around, cleaning the doors. I'm kind of a clean freak that way. I want to say thank you to Pat K for the donation to the channel. All of the gifted memberships. Thank you so much for that. Jesse Essex, thank you for the donation to the channel. Stacy, Christine Alaska, Lisa. You guys are too much. Jakey, we have new members. We have a members live coming up. It's one you do not want to miss. If you've been following the Michael Vaughn case, there are some things that we're going to talk about that are not anywhere else. And it will be very interesting, very eye-opening. Again, for people that are rehashing the Michael Vaughn argument, saying that the cases are connected, please remember this. The card team said in Summer's case, there is no abduction. The top cop in Fruitland, Snow's boyfriend, she wishes, J.D. Huff, said they can't find a connection to Summer Wells.
You know, we haven't. Although I know there are some similarities, such as the Summer Wells case, but we just haven't been able to tie that to that case. So.
I think that says it all. Before we go, let's light up the chat for Summer. She has been missing way over 2 years. As a community, we are here for Summer Wells and any victim that we are talking about at the time. I apologize for what seemed to be dramatic for a little bit. That was not my intention, but you know, we brought the reins back in and got right back to Summer, and that's what we do. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you again for your support of this channel, making it grow, making it rain. I apologize also for going live earlier than I normally do, but as you know, we're having an ice storm. I'm looking outside right now and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Getting really ridiculous out there. I think I may have to go move down by Rexy or by Slim. Then I don't have to worry about ice. We only get about 2 storms a year and sometimes none, but still, I'm going to bitch all the same. You guys are the absolute best, and I appreciate you all very much. Not only are we friends on the channel, but we're friends outside of the channel, and that is extremely important to me. So I hope you have a great rest of your Monday, and I'm going to say it all the time. Thank you for being the best chat and best community on these YouTube streets. And by the way, Mod Squad, I don't know how you do it, but thank you. I owe you big time. You guys are the best. I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m.